You're watching Business Access TV.
Business Access TV.
Business Access.
Business Access TV.
Serious about business.
Welcome to Business Access Television's highlights package of the symbolic signing of Jamaica's Foreign Exchange Code of Conduct.
Governor Brian Winter, Senior Deputy Governor John Robinson, Deputy Governors Wayne Robinson, newly elected JBA President Mr. Jerome Smalling, President of the Cambia Association of Jamaica Heather Ferguson, Executive Director of the Jamaica Institute of Financial Services Darlene Jones, other distinguished guests, members of the press. Good morning and welcome to Bank of Jamaica for the symbolic signing of the BIS FX Global Code by the respective presidents of the JBA and CAJ. The adoption of this code by the authorized dealers and large cambios is another significant step in the FX market reform process, which began back in July 2017. Since then, BOJ has implemented a series of reforms aimed at improving efficiency and transparency, to include the implementation of BFIXIT, that's the Bank of Jamaica Foreign Exchange Intervention Trading Tool, whereby the bank intervenes through select participants in the foreign exchange market via an auction process. Secondly, the implementation of FX net open position limits for authorized dealers and FX position limits for cambios, to ensure soundness and efficiency in the foreign exchange markets and mitigate risk-taking by the players. Improving market intelligence through daily market chats and enhanced reporting requirements to include counterparty name and TRN for large value transactions. The establishment of a foreign exchange market development committee chaired by the governor, and this enables cross-fertilization of ideas of all players in the industry. And of course, getting the conversation started on FX hedging products, such as forwards. At this time, on behalf of the governor, I'd like to extend appreciation to the authorized dealers and cambios for your tremendous support in making the reforms thus far a success. Colleagues, there's more to come as we eagerly await the implementation of the foreign exchange trading platform in early 2020. So without further ado, I now turn over to our esteemed governor, Mr. Brian Winter, for his remarks.
Thank you, Natalie, and I would like to say a special welcome to everybody this morning. It's very good to see you all here for this extremely I think a long-awaited, a timely, and a very important step forward for Jamaica in its economic development. I'm especially pleased to be here today as we recognize the adoption of the BIS Foreign Exchange Global Code by the foreign exchange market intermediaries in Jamaica. The Global Code provides a common set of guidelines to promote the integrity, the transparency, and the effective functioning of the foreign exchange market, which is a vital part of the global financial system and has a turnover of more than $5 trillion every single day. The adoption of the Global Code is one of the reforms to the foreign exchange market that we began in mid-2017, and it was aimed at enhancing the efficiency of the financial markets in Jamaica. That is how financial markets best serve the markets in goods and services, which is where Jamaicans will be employed and be able to grow their wealth, will be able to develop themselves, will be able to contribute to the building of Jamaica. The code the symbolic signing today by the representatives of by the respective presidents, I should say, of the Bankers Association and of the Cambio Association of Jamaica confirms that their members have signed the Global Code, indicating their commitment to its 6 leading areas of principle, namely ethics, governance, execution, information sharing, risk management and compliance, and the confirmation and settlement processes. This historic signing reflects our aims for Jamaica to have a robust, fair, liquid, open, and transparent market for foreign exchange. As Governor of the Bank of Jamaica, I am very happy for what we have been able to accomplish in reaching this stage. We are confident that this move will support an improvement in the public's faith in the foreign exchange market. And now that we are a part of the Global Code, this is a signal that Jamaica is open and ready for business. It's now incumbent on each foreign exchange dealer or Cambio to follow through on their commitment to adopt the principles that Jamaica's foreign exchange market has signed up to. My expectation is that those who wish to compete in the foreign exchange market will be able to enjoy success once they follow the principles that we are here establishing today. I'd like to now welcome Ms. Darlene Jones, Executive Director of GIFS, who will speak to us on the importance of that institution in building capacity for intermediaries in implementing the code. Before I end my remarks, I just want to thank you all for coming as we remain committed to Jamaica becoming the place of choice to live, work, raise families, and do business. Thank you, everyone.
GIFS is extremely proud to be a part of today's momentous occasion, signifying the commitment to integrity and professional standards at the highest level. We feel that this is part of the evolution that the Minister of Finance spoke of at the recent symposium when he said that since we're operating in a market driven FX market, it requires businesses and the financial institutions to evolve in order to exist. This is indeed a significant advancement in this process. As provider of internationally rated cutting-edge development opportunities for the financial services industry, our mandate is to ensure that the industry is supplied with a highly trained and agile cadre of talent to support industry growth. GIFS is therefore pleased to be a supporter of this milestone with the offering of the FX Global Code Certification Program, which is being offered in collaboration with the Global Association, ACI Financial Markets. This program will enhance our buoyant FX industry with a cadre of certified financial markets professionals qualified to execute at the highest level of efficacy. The program has been designed to ensure practical working knowledge, and I am emphasizing practical working knowledge, advocated by the principles of the code, with emphasis on the application of high standards of integrity, conduct, and professionalism, with the understanding of why adherence to the market participants to the code is important. We had a first sitting of certification exams in June, and we're now recruiting for the second cohort, which commences in September. We expect to have annual certifications. Persons would need to certify annually, and thereafter with the expectation that this program will become mandatory for the financial markets professionals. Of course, we intend to continue the path by offering supportive programs. We are also in discussions with ACI to offer a dealing certificate. So we commend the FX Working Committee on the direction of the Central Bank on this milestone on agreeing to the principles of the code. This signing by the relevant stakeholders is indicative of Jamaica's commitment to a successful FX industry, one that is comparable to international standards. And GIFS is truly committed to our mission to ensure the continuous building of human and organizational capabilities through research and professional development of knowledgeable, ethical, proactive, customer-driven financial services sector. And we look forward to our continued collaboration in this regard. Thank you so much.
It's now time for what we came here to see, the symbolic signing of the code by the respective presidents.
Thanks for watching Business Access Television's highlights package of the symbolic signing of Jamaica's Foreign Exchange Code of Conduct. Pleasant viewing.
Cameo brings the creative industries to life. Highlighting creatives in different fields each week. Art.
My life turns art. I breathe, I eat art.
Fashion. Food.
Without a customer, we're nothing but four walls.
Music. Film. Cameo, only on Business Access TV.
You're watching Business Access TV.
Business Access.
Business Access. Business Access. Business Access.
You are watching Business Access TV.
Business Access TV.
Serious about business.
Serious about business.
TV welcomes you to the grand opening of Maison Chic's second location here at the Arden Emirates Plaza on Arden Road. I'm your host, Amita Prasadwe. Please stay tuned for highlights. So it's Maison Chic's second store launch tonight. What are your thoughts?
It's good because a lot of time I'm up this side and it's difficult for me to go all the way down that side to get something, so I can just come right here and run over to 212. That's my favorite.
That's your favorite?
That's my favorite, all the time.
So you're a past customer. Talk to me about your experience shopping at Maison Chic.
Oh, it's very easy because I'm not so big on fragrance. So when I enter the store, I'm like, what is it that I want? And somebody just comes over and like, okay, may I help you? What is it that you're looking for? Is it for an event? Or you just want something for like when you're going on the road? And they just help me from there and I'm good.
But wouldn't you want to smell the same for an event or if you're going on the road?
No, that's why I always choose two. One for the regular outing and one for an event. Yeah, because you know when you go to an event, your cologne have your kick like Jackie Chan.
Oh, it's have a kick.
It have a kick.
So welcome one and all. This is the official launch of Maison Chic 2. Did you hear what I said? This is the official launch of Maison Chic 2. Maison Chic first opened its doors at the mini mall of Tropical Plaza, and now we're here at Arden Emirates, and this is our second location. We are a fragrance store that takes pride in providing our guests with the utmost respect, the utmost customer service that you can find anywhere. And don't forget that we are also licensed to bring all the brands that we carry. So we have brands like Carolina Herrera, Paco Rabanne, which you know, like these are like top brands from right around the world, right? And our tagline is explore your outer senses and unleash yourself. This explains perfectly what we do and the experience that we bring to all our guests. every single one is important. So whether it be that you purchase a fragrance that costs $2,000 or you purchase a fragrance that costs $80,000, it doesn't really matter to us. Just as long as you're supporting us, you deserve the best and the best customer service from right around the world, right across the board. For us, we always say in the fragrance world that fragrance is the ultimate accessory. So when you're smelling good, people tend to sometimes forget what you look like, right? Am I right? Yeah, everybody can testify to this. And in our culture now, as Jamaicans, we have realized that even our entertainers are bringing this to light. So everybody is singing about what they're wearing, and everybody wants to smell hot, and everybody wants to smell sexy. So, you know, it's a very important thing. It's very important to what we do every day, like to keep yourself clean and to smell nice and to smell sexy is everybody's wish. And right now, I just want to say thank you to everyone that has come out tonight, because this is a very important venture. We have struggled to help persons to understand that, hey, this is where we need to be. Like, you need to walk into a store, and before you can even say hello, like customers are, or attendants are greeting you. We have the best trained attendants right across the board. Like, when I say best trained, like, can I hear some hello? All right, so right now I'm gonna introduce all our fragrance consultants. Come on, guys, come on, don't be shy. This is our team, and I'm proud to say that all of us here, we take pride in doing what we do. And it's all for you. And I want you to know my staff, like, by name. So from the end here, we have this is a very important night for Samantha, because she actually manages this branch. So right here you have Samantha. And you have Celine. And from the staff of Maison Chic One, that's in Tropical Plaza, we have Cindy. And everybody know me, Pat Marie. And we have the ever so lovely, the girls, them sugar digging. And we also have our newest edition, Ches. Give it up for Ches, everybody. So, with all that being said, I'm looking forward for everyone to continue supporting us. And this is a very important part of our program this evening. Now, everybody owns a smartphone. Now, I need y'all to take out your smartphones, please, right this moment. Yeah, it's already out. Now, y'all gonna go to Instagram, and it's at MAISONCHIC_JA. Right? Everybody has done that? Yeah, I see some people doing it. Thank you very much. Now follow us. Come to the store. Take pictures. Come and test. Because, guys, we provide testers for all our fragrances. So come and test. Don't be shy. It's a new age, people. And Maison Chic is bringing Jamaica to life with fragrances. Can I get an amen? Yeah. And, you know, we couldn't have such a great store without having great distributors, right? Yeah, so the people that take care of us, make sure we have the samples, make sure we have the gifts. And right now, I'm gonna call to... She's so smiling, I love her. We're gonna call to speak to us now, Marie, and she's our representative from Eurobrands.
Thank you, darling. Hi, good evening, everyone. Hola. Very special welcome to the Panamanian Ambassador, the Panamanian Chief of Mission, and Mrs. Barrow. I am extremely pleased to have you guys here. Of course, you might, and all of you special guests invited. Guys, you know, it is very important for us to highlight how significant it is in Jamaica to have a second branch for one of our clients. Maison Chic came to us maybe 2 years ago But we have been in business for the past 6 years. You might be wondering what Eurobrands does. We have the license for brands such as Carolina Herrera, Paco Rabanne, Valentino, Nina Ricci, Antonio Banderas, Shakira, United Dreams, Jean Paul, Versace, and many, 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 many. Trust me, our inventory is crazy. So you don't want to go in there. But what is important is I want you to realize that I did say license. What that means, you're probably wondering, do you need licenses to sell perfumes in Jamaica? You need license to sell perfumes, and I'm gonna tell you why. You wouldn't be able to enjoy that wonderful after work kind of, we give you that value added that other companies, of course, cannot do. We not only give you the testers, but we are also empowering our staff. We give value-added products, such as training for all the staff. And the reason why Maison Chic has the best training in the world is because we offer. We do that through our suppliers. Ana Maria Libertini is here from one of our suppliers, which is our main supplier. And we are very proud to have her here all the way. One of the things that I want you guys to realize is that all these efforts cannot be done without the team. Of course, my team is really, really busy tonight, and they're selling fragrances to all our clients, but I have Samantha here that is in charge of our marketing department. Anna is also here, that is our newest member of staff, and is in the administration department. One of the things that I want you guys to realize is that without the importance of the Jamaican market, we wouldn't be here. It is amazing for us to be able to see our clients prosper. So if any of you want to sell fragrances, so you know where to go. If you want to have it done well done. One of the things that I always say to my clients is, if it looks good, if it smells good, if it's good, we have it. If we don't have it, we are working on the license. And if we are not working on the license, it's because we don't think it will make sense in Jamaica. We are the best in the system right here. We are the best in the market.
Good evening, everyone. It is my pleasure to have you here. Working at Maison Chic, it has been really great. The family base, they have been really welcoming, not to mention the clients that we have catered to and the friends that we have made. So some of our, clients, they have become our friends. So with that said, I would like you to celebrate with me new beginnings.
Maison Chic 2!
So guys, now for the important aspect of it. Now for the first part, you can go.
Don't be don't pull another one, another one. Feel your eyes, they all over me. Don't be shy, take a stroke of me. Get the vibe, it's gonna be lit tonight. No lie, not twice, pull another one. It's alright, I know what you want. The vibe's gonna be lit tonight. No lie,
So you're the new manager for the second location here. Talk to me about that.
All right, well, it has been really, really great working here. I'm kind of the quiet person, shy, and working here, it has forced me to come out of my shell to interact. And trust me, we have some lovely clients that we work with. The customer base here, well, not the customer base, but the staff here at Maison Chic, both at Maison Chic Emirates and at the other location, the first location, we have quite a different variety of characteristics. We have Patrice, who is very animatic. So, she's fun, she's courageous. We have Hubert, we have Celine, we have myself, we have Cindy, and newly we have Ches. So, it has been a great family base.
Talk to me about the fragrances you have available here tonight, and what's so special about this fragrance store compared to another one?
Well, all right. So we have fragrances that are top of the line. So we have Carolina Herrera, we have Valentino, we have Jimmy Choo. And not just that, but what separates us from a lot of different stores is that we do it by law. We do it officially. So we obtain license. So when persons come to purchase and we tell them, we have to have the license to carry a specific fragrance. So if you don't see it, it's because we don't have that license. They're like, oh, really? You have to have a license? So that's what separates us. Not to mention the customer service. Like, persons commend us on our customer service. So that sets us apart. Customer service, it's everything, and it's not everyone that can, put on a good show, who can stand, and if someone is being mean or if someone's just having a bad day, you don't, just take their energy and just give it back to them, but really take their energy and, give them a positive vibes. So that's what differentiates us.
You're a customer here at Maison Chic. Talk to me about your favorite fragrance.
Well, there are two of them here. First one for the designer would be Paco Rabanne Invictus, and that would be the Intense. And the second one would be from Bond Number 9. It would be Scent of Peace.
It's their second store. How does that make it easier for you to shop?
Well, I work right here on the road, so I can just simply come by during my lunchtime if I feel the need to. However, I normally feel welcome in the Tropical Mall itself.
What's so special about their service here?
Customer service, you have to be big on customer service for you to attract certain customers, and that is one thing that they have captured. They have managed to capture customer service because it's very warm, very friendly, and believe you me, they are very experienced. They are knowledgeable about the fragrances as well.
Talk to me about your experience so far.
So far, it's been a wonderful experience. I've been enjoying every moment of this because it's something new, but I've been selling fragrance since I've arrived here, but it's easy because we actually study the fragrances that we sell, so we know what we are giving to the customers. So at the end of the day, we always please their wants and needs that they come to us about. So basically, I've been here for 2.5 to 3 weeks right now, and I've been savoring every moment.
How was the training?
Well, the training has been very educational. Yes, so they have been training us in ways that I didn't know that my nose could have reached those levels. I didn't know my nose had those skills because we have been learning new things.
Why should people come out to the shop location here on Arden Road or the one in Tropical Plaza?
Tropical is kind of a more established branch, but Arden has a lot of fragrances that maybe you will not find at Tropical right now, but it's a nice branch to come because they have varieties. And it's a new place, so they want it to be as much as Tropical itself because people actually know Tropical already. So basically it's a new experience, but it's similar to Tropical because the customer service is still warm and inviting as in Tropical. So it's a great place to come.
Thanks for joining us here at Maison Chic's second store opening right here in Arden Emirates Plaza. I've been your host, Amita Pasadweb, and you're watching Business Access TV, serious about business.
Ready for cable for as little as $100? Ready for no monthly cable bill? Ready for 10 TV channels absolutely free? Then pick up our Ready TV box at authorized stores for $4,500. Hook it up to your TV set, then top it up with Ready Credit for 1, 7, or 30 days. Buy now and get $1,000 free Ready Credit and start watching your favorite shows. Pick it up, hook it up, top it up. Ready TV. Prepaid cable TV when you're ready. Now serving Kingston and St. Catherine. Limited time offer while stocks last. Conditions apply.
Did you know that the Tourism Workers Pension Fund will cover all workers from 18 to 65 years in the sector, whether permanent, contract or self-employed? That's right. And the benefits will be payable at age 65.
What we want to make sure is that everybody is covered, that everybody is on some social security arrangement to protect them when they retire or when they can't work anymore.
The Tourism Minister gives more details on the fund later in the show. Hello, I'm Adrian Atkinson. Welcome to Jamaica Magazine. We have a lot more in store for you, so stay with us.
How we are going all of that? You're moving?
No. I'm a passport, but come for renewing, you know. But you want me to say, you in that place full of crown and a long line that take you all day. Make sure you walk with some food. And...
No, man, things improve, man. Them have a lot of drop box where you can use inside. It finishes in no time.
Yeah,
man, them are done.
Yeah. And some food, man. Try this. A drop box.
Transformation is happening across the public sector. Many services are now available online. We are building a better public service for all. Brought to you by the Transformation Implementation Unit.
Good day, I'm Theodore Henry, and this is your JIS News for Thursday, August 22. The government has entered into an agreement to extend domestic monitoring of Jamaica's economic reform program beyond the country's precautionary standby arrangement with the IMF, which ends this November. The move was formalized through the signing of a Memorandum of Understanding MOU this morning between the Ministry of Finance and the Economic Program Oversight Committee, EPOC. Finance Minister Dr. Nigel Clark says the MOU empowers EPOC to continue in its monitoring role until government operationalizes policy commitments for the established inclusion of independent fiscal oversight.
The government is far advanced in enacting legislation that will modernize the central bank, inclusive of institutionalizing independence in the implementation of monetary policy. We are also working towards legislation that will give rise to a fiscal council that will strengthen Jamaica's fiscal responsibility framework and be an independent arbiter of Jamaica's fiscal rules.
Minister Clark says with the Joint Select Committee of Parliament's review of the central bank legislation far advanced, he expects the amended bill to be tabled in this quarter and passed before the next financial year, which begins in April 2020. Dr. Clark says he also expects to table legislation in Parliament for the Fiscal Council by April of next year. In the meantime, EPOC's chairman, Keith Duncan, says his committee's work and the eventual fiscal legislation will serve to improve economic benefits for Jamaicans.
We are already seeing the fruits of, fiscal responsibility in relationship to our ability to invest in capital expenditure, in infrastructure, in even this year in the national security apparatus. And we are confident that if we continue along this path, we will be able to increasingly invest in the capacity of our Jamaican people and our Jamaican organizations.
Residents of Mavis Bank and adjoining areas of East Rural St. Andrew now have easier access to their communities following the rehabilitation of the Georges River Bridge. The bridge, which is located in Violet Bank, was renovated at a cost of $21 million by the National Works Agency. Previously 15 feet wide, it has been expanded to 36 feet and can now accommodate 2 large vehicles simultaneously. During the official opening on Wednesday, Prime Minister Andrew Holness said the bridge was now high enough to allow for unimpeded flow of the stream that runs below and also sturdy enough to withstand the peculiarities of climate change.
Widening this bridge is important for the access of the people who live in the community, for the agricultural access which is necessary to move coffee speedily to market, access for construction work that is going, for large trucks to move materials, and for the safety of the community, because this area, during times of drought and in the summer in particular, is susceptible to bushfires. and to have the fire engines being able to move without impediment is also very important.
Mr. Holness is urging motorists to refrain from speeding and to maneuver with care when using the bridge. Over 700 traffic cameras have been installed in specific parishes so far under the Ministry of Transport and Mining's electronic surveillance system. The cameras are equipped with license plate reading technology to record vehicles involved in traffic offenses. Approximately 490 traffic cameras have been installed across Kingston, 120 in Montego Bay, 80 in Ocho Rios, 38 in May Pen, and 30 in Mandeville. The Consumer Affairs Commission, CAC, is urging parents to be wary of counterfeit products during their back-to-school shopping. CAC's Director of Communications, Latoya Halstead, says parents should be especially careful when purchasing severely marked down items.
What you might be thinking that you're getting as a deal could in fact be a knockoff. So you're paying money out of pocket for something that you think is going to last when in 2-3 months it goes.
Ms. Halstead is recommending that parents conduct research before purchasing items such as shoes and bags and to physically check these items in store.
Go online and look to see exactly what the tags should be like, the branding of the item, to see exactly how it ought to be. So when you go into the store or from whomever you're purchasing it from, you already have an idea as to what it should look like, to see if there is any inferior stitching, if the label somehow just doesn't look right, if you see spelling errors, if you don't even see the tag that should be there.
Parents are also advised to explore buying used books and to walk with the book list when purchasing textbooks to check the edition, author, and publisher. Persons are further cautioned to keep receipts and not wrap or write in the text until it is verified by the teacher that those books will be used. And finally, parents and guardians of children who are deaf or hard of hearing are being encouraged to enroll them into one of the Jamaica Association for the Deaf, JAD's, schools. The association operates 7 schools across 4 parishes. Executive Director Kimberly Sherlock Marriott Blake says currently there are approximately 400 students enrolled, which is a 50% capacity across the system. She says it is estimated that JAD should have at least 1,000 students enrolled in its schools.
Because education is our core focus, one of the things that's very critical for us is ensuring that we not only have children in school, but that we're adequately supporting them once we get them into school.
Mrs. Sherlock Marriott Blake was speaking at a recent JIS think tank. She says students who have hearing loss and use hearing aids usually have a hard time keeping up with the pace of a large class in regular schools and eventually perform at or below bare minimum standard. For this reason, she says the JAD is working on sensitizing persons at the community level about the importance of having these children learn in an environment which is tailored to their specific needs.
But our goal is ensuring that whatever the hearing loss, the child can be supported. The child can be given the education that they deserve, because we are firm believers that every child can learn and every child must learn.
And that's it for JIS News today. I'm Theodore Henry. Thanks for watching.
Are you a small to medium-sized tourism enterprise? Borrow up to $25 million at an interest rate of 5%. You can use the funding to develop and maintain your infrastructure, upgrade or increase your capacity, enhance and expand your attraction, tour or event, and purchase raw material. Call the Exim Bank and ask about the Tourism SMTE loan. Their numbers are 876-630-1400 or 876-618-5889. Tap into the over $3 billion earned yearly through tourism with a SMTE loan.
By early 2020, the Tourism Workers Pension Fund will come into effect. This will provide a social security net for those who make a living from the sector.
We see too many workers who have toiled for years, some 40, some 50 years, and after they have left the industry, they are in penury situations. And we're saying that that is not right. That image is wrong. That optic is unsatisfactory. And therefore, the move to ensure that we create that social security arrangement so that on retirement, the tourism worker from whatever category can be assured of a minimum pension. And we wanted to emphasize the minimum. So we went about, over the last 8 years or so, working assiduously at getting the structures and systems and legislative and regulatory arrangements in place so as to allow for a pension plan that is going to be very embracing, that is perhaps all-inclusive. By that we mean it covers all elements of the working force within the industry. That is to say, those who are working in the hotels, whatever category in the hotels, those who are working at attractions, whichever attractions, those who are self-employed, like the owners of taxis and transportation arrangements that we have to utilize on a regular and almost total basis to transit visitors from one point to the other. The red caps, those who work for themselves at the airport, to remove and carry and to convey the luggage and much of the burden and help that the visitor requires. Then we look at those who are involved in street food arrangements and are providing that kind of a basic gastronomy service to the people of the industry, the guests, the visitors, and locals alike. And then you have to look at those who are involved in spas and in areas of farming that are dedicated to tourism. For example, agrotourism projects and entities, people who work for those. And then security, those who work with the security corps in the industry. And we could go on then the vendors, the craft vendors, the ordinary Jamaican who provides a lot of the basic social services and needs that the visitor has. Because all of those social needs that are provided by the ordinary Jamaican on the street are part of what we call the destination assurance. It's part of what the integrity of the destination is composed of. It's part of what defines us. It's part of what makes us a place where people feel comfortable, people feel safe, people feel secure, and we ought to provide them with a seamlessness in terms of their ability to move and to access our assets. So the purpose, therefore, of this pension plan is to enable that level of social protection at the end of the working experiences of visitors. So there had to be an age limit, as there had to be a commencement age. And so the scheme will cover all workers of tourism enterprises who are 18 years and over up to 65. At 65 is the formal pensionable age. Now, you can be part of the scheme beyond age 65, but the pensionable age is 65. That is to say, you wouldn't be able to get a pension except for certain circumstances, which I will indicate, until you are age 65. And those circumstances has to do with incapacitation as a result of illnesses, right? Or any acts of God or the Queen's enemy that creates that level of incapacity on your side. You can also, and this is a very important feature that we have introduced, which perhaps is not present in any other pension scheme anywhere, in that you can become a member at age 59, 5 years before you get to age 65. So you would only pay for 5 years, but you would be entitled to a pension similar to the persons who would have been there from the start. And how did that happen? That came about because the government of Jamaica, the government, decided that we would put $1 billion from the Tourism Enhancement Fund into the scheme fund so as to seed it, so to speak, and to create the base so that those who have been contributors for only 5 years can still get a pension that is equal to a minimum of $200,000 a year.
Minister Bartlett continues the conversation after this break, telling us more about the contribution process for workers and employers as well as its benefits.
Nutritious food, succulent dishes, superior workmanship, and excellent service. Jamaica is on the go. Let's grow what we eat and eat what we grow. Let's harness the indomitable spirit of our most valued resource, our people. Let's support our local businesses. After all, buying Jamaican means building Jamaica.
Before the break, we look at the categories and age group of persons who are eligible to join the Tourism Workers Pension Fund. Let's pick up the conversation on the contribution process and benefits. Here's Minister Bartlett with the details.
What is the level of involvement that each worker is required? How do you, first of all, start the contribution? You start the contribution the first day that you are appointed to the company. We understand that some companies will have a little 3-month or 2-month, probation period. So we understand that. But the minute you are employed full-time, then it kicks in. And do I have an option to join or not to join? No. The law is making this a compulsory pension act, which enables everybody and requires everybody. That's the word. Requires everybody to join. But it also does something else. It requires every employer to participate with the employee. And so initially, it will be a 3% deduction from your weekly or monthly salary, as the case might be. And the employer will contribute an equal 3%. And that will go on for the first 3 years. After that is 5% and 5%. So, what then happens to this money? This money goes into an account bearing the name of every contributor. So, I have my own account. Just as I had a savings account in the bank, it's the same way that it will obtain. And what will be in the account will be my contribution of 3% and the employer's contribution of 3%. And then when that money is invested and it grows interest, what we call accrete, nice word, then that my account accretes. Right? The other thing is that I must have a beneficiary that is put on the account so that if anything happens while I am going on in life, like, I should die, the beneficiary would get the account. So it would not then go to the Administrator General and end up in the government coffers in the long run. But your beneficiary, and your designated beneficiary, whoever you want, could be mother, sister, boyfriend, girlfriend, wife, husband, whatever, right? Your beneficiary. The other thing is that you can join and move from one company to the other without breaking your membership. It's very important because we know how it goes in the tourism industry. You move from hotel to hotel, and sometimes you move from being a hotel worker to being an entrepreneur on your own because you decide that you're going to be a transportation operator, or you decide that you're going to supply the hotel with certain goods and services and so on and so forth. But you can remain there. Something else then that you asked, all right, since I can move from one hotel to the other and so on, can I be in more than one scheme? No. You can only be in one scheme. and you pick which one you want to be in. So if you don't want to be in the Tourism Workers Pension Act, and there's another pension scheme somewhere that you feel you can do better with, then fine, not a problem. But what we want to make sure is that everybody is covered, that everybody is on some social security arrangement to protect them when they retire or when they can't work anymore. And so here is another big pool of funds. We're expecting perhaps 350 and more thousand people to participate in it in the long run. In the long run, in fact, the growth of the industry will dictate how many hundred thousands or indeed millions of people will be involved in it down the road. But the actuarial people have done some little work and indicate to us that in the first 5 years, at the end of the first 5 years, we will have something like about $7 billion Jamaican in the fund. So that will make it possible for the minimum of 200,000. But they also tell us that if, on a presumption that 200,000 people join, and a rate of, say, 4% growth over the year, right? By 2030, we would have $7 billion in the fund. Now, if that 200,000 became the 300,000 we talk about, and the 300,000 became 5, as is likely to be at the rate of growth of the tourism industry at the moment, you can then see that this fund is going to have trillions of dollars later on. And this is going to be hugely beneficial to the whole investment arrangement in Jamaica and the access to affordable capital for investment in infrastructure and in commerce and in other areas of economic life. So we have created then not just a social safety net, not just a social piece of legislation that is going to protect the vulnerable, but we have also created an economic fund that is going to be available for investment and for capital formation.
Up next, the Administrator General's Department helps us to understand who is a spouse.
Anna, why are you knocking down my door? What is it?
Jackie, I don't know what to do. From Jason dead, I have nothing to give to the children, and I don't know where to turn.
So why you didn't go down to the Administrator General's department, the place I told you about the other day?
Lord Jackie, me know you try to help me, you know, but remember say me and Jason never did marry, you know.
What do you mean by that, Anna? The law say if a single man and a single woman live together as husband and wife for 5 years and more immediately before death, then he or she is considered a spouse.
Really? That mean me can't get something then? Cause boy, it rough, you know.
Yes, man, just go down there, tell them about the case, that Jason died, leaving no will, house and children under 18 years. Go down there and see what them can do for you.
A true you're talking, Jackie. Where you say the place there again?
Down a waterfront, man. 12 Ocean Boulevard. Go down there, talk to them, and see if them can help you.
Okay, I'm going down there right now.
Good morning, madam. How are you?
Good morning, miss. I hear that the Administrator General's department can help me. You see, my children, them father died, leaving me with the 2 pitney them, and I'm me alone I care for them.
Did he leave a will?
Will, ma'am, after Jason never ready for dead, how come him a come from work and drop down dead? My friend tell me say under the law I'm considered a spouse. By the way, who is a spouse?
Under the Interstates, Estates and Property Charges Act, a spouse is a single man and woman living together as husband and wife for 5 years or more. By living together, the two persons should not have been separated at any time during the 5 years immediately before death. A surviving spouse includes a person who is legally married. That is, he or she went in front of a pastor and took the vow of marriage. If Anna meets the requirements, she can hire an attorney at law or go to the legal aid clinic to apply for an order from the court declaring that she's a spouse. Some of the questions the court will look at are: did Anna and Jason break up during the 5 years? Did Jason have any children born in the same year as Anna's children? The court will also want to know if Anna or Jason were married before and not divorced. Once the order has been granted, the spouse would be entitled to benefit from the estate of the deceased. For further information, you can visit the Administrator General's Department in Kingston, 3rd floor at the Office Center Building, 12 Ocean Boulevard, or call us at 922-183023. You can also visit our Western office at the 2nd floor of the National Housing Trust Building at 42B Union Street, Montego Bay, St. James. Telephone 630-4261. Our website is at www.agd.gov.jm. That's the Administrator General's Department, securing your legacy.
As we close today's show, we ask that you stay connected via our website, jis.gov.jm. And while you're online, send your feedback to Jamaica Magazine at jis.gov.jm or via tweet at JIS News. On behalf of the entire production crew, I'm Adrian Atkinson. Do take care.
This has been a production of the Jamaica Information Service, the voice of Jamaica.
They say it takes a village to raise a child, but the world will one day need the leadership of that child. The time you spend with your child matters. It stimulates their minds and shapes the way they act. Talk with your children. Help them to better understand the world around them and to value what is truly precious. Above all, the most valuable gift you can give them is love. Play, talk, teach, love. Take the time. It makes all the difference. A message from the Parenting Helpline and Ad Council Jamaica.
Business current affairs you can relate to. Frank, credible discussion. On point, dissecting the issues. Offering solutions to Jamaica's challenges. On Point, Thursdays at 8 p.m. on Business Access TV.
Every day you wake up, you have another opportunity to make this little island better, safer, a place where we all can be proud to call home. It's time we all recognize that every little thing we do has an impact on the Jamaica we live in now and the country we're leaving for our children. So promise me this, promise yourself this. No more will we tolerate criminals, even if it's our relatives. Tell them they're doing something wrong. Tell them to stop. Tell them no more robbing our children of the Jamaica they deserve. Tell them no more crime.
Jamaican art is just as diverse and multifaceted as its people. It inspires and educates, entertains and stimulates, while answering important questions about Jamaican culture and what it means to be Jamaican. The works of legends like Capo and Manley, as well as newcomers alike, sell for thousands all over the world. But after the paint dries and the marble is polished, how do you go about the business of your art? Today, we take a look at Jamaicans' leading and cutting-edge institutions taking charge of the business end of the paintbrush and making priceless beauty profitable for Jamaica and Jamaican artists. The chaos of creativity meets the stricture of structure on Business Access TV's Cameo. The National Gallery, fresh off a successful stay.
The National Gallery was established in 1974 because it was recognized that there was a need for a national art museum. The Jamaican art movement had been growing exponentially over the years, and it was felt that there was a need for a specialized institution that would provide exposure, documentation, collection of art, and so forth. So that was the reason why it was established at the time.
Tell me about the business model of the National Gallery.
Right. Well, we are, as a public cultural institution, we are a non-profit entity. We are a division of the Institute of Jamaica and part of the Ministry of Youth and Culture. We are a public art museum. We are publicly funded in that sense that our salaries, the building, utilities, basic operations are funded from the public purse, from taxpayers' funds, but we also fund our activities from other sources. That includes our own business activities, I mean the admission fees, store fees, the gift and coffee shop, fundraising events and so on. We also approach various funders, whether it is corporate sponsors, donor agencies and so on, for funding, usually for specific projects, which can be exhibitions, which can be acquisitions, education programs, you know, the whole spectrum of activities that we have.
At this point in time, what is the National Gallery's functional purpose?
Right. Well, the National Gallery of Jamaica is Jamaica's National Art Museum. It has a comprehensive collection of mostly Jamaican art. It has a few other things too. And that collection provides an overview from pre-Columbian, from the Taino to the present day. So it really covers the entire historical spectrum, and also a very broad spectrum in terms of the various media, various themes, various artistic approaches, and so on. In addition to that, we also have regular exhibitions collection, but we also have temporary exhibitions. We typically have about 4 exhibitions per year, and those explore usually various aspects of Jamaican art, sometimes also other art. Sometimes we also host overseas exhibitions. For instance, we are currently in discussion about the Haitian art exhibition, which hopefully we will have next year. We also have a branch in Montego Bay, National Gallery West, which opened last year. So we have been growing, and we do now have that representation in Western Jamaica.
How do you acquire the artwork that you have here?
Right, well, a lot of the artworks that we have in our collection are acquired by donation, either by collectors, by artists themselves sometimes. We have never really gotten a lot of capital support for the acquisition of artworks, so we have to find other sources. We have to find other ways of developing our collection. So donations is a major aspect of that. We also, when we find a work of art that we feel needs to be part of our collection, we may try to find sponsors for it, we may try to find a grant for it, and so forth. So it really is a mixture, you know, but the whole idea is that our collection should provide an encyclopedic overview of Jamaican art history. So any decision we make about what we buy is made with that in mind.
what are some day-to-day challenges that you face operating the National Gallery?
Oh, there are many, well, of course, I would say the main challenge, of course, is funding. We operate in an environment of fiscal austerity. So, of course, that means that we have to be very careful in terms of how we spend money, and also we cannot expect for everything that we do to be paid with taxpayers' money. I think we've done a pretty good job with that. In fact, our exhibitions are basically funded off budget. I mean, we find other sources of funding for them. So funding is a major challenge. What we also try to do is to get the best possible value for money. So we work compared to other museums very cheaply. I mean, some of my colleagues laugh overseas laugh when I tell them how little money we spend on some of our major exhibitions. Also, we're operating here from a building which was originally seen as a temporary home. Our facilities are really not quite up to standard and are not as of a modern museum. And that is in fact one of the big projects that we will be working on over the next few years, is to bring this building up to international standards for art museums.
Tell me about some successes of the National Gallery.
Well, the biennial, the 2014 biennial, which was held at 3 locations, which was held here at Devon House and at National Gallery West, and which also had a project on the streets of Kingston, I think was overwhelmingly successful, and I think the response to it was really positive. So we really saw a level of engagement from audiences, from artists and others that we had not seen before with the exhibitions we have had. National Gallery West itself, a lot of people outside of Kingston keep reminding us that Kingston is not Jamaica. There's a lot more out there, and the cultural institutions in Jamaica have tended to be very Kingston focused. So to be able to spread our wings to Montego Bay, to operate from there, has been a very interesting experience for us, and a very satisfying experience. And what we focus on there is both local and tourist audiences. Other successes, well, the exhibition. I mean, rarely in my career as a curator have I seen such a positive response to an exhibition at the exhibition opening. The vibe, to use the local word, really was extraordinary. And that is very satisfying, because when you work on an exhibition, it is hard work, it can be very challenging, long hours, many challenges along the way, but then to see that public response to what you have done, I mean, that really is extraordinary. Mm-hmm.
So you've been charting a new path for the National Gallery. Tell me about that and why.
Right, well, as I said earlier on, I mean, one of our purposes is really to reach the broadest possible audiences for Jamaican art. And to do that, you really have to make sure that what you present is engaging, that you do it in a way that will reach the broadest possible audiences. And there are all sorts of strategies and techniques that you can follow for that. So we have been changing our curatorial practice here at the National Gallery to do just that, to reach broader audiences, to speak to more diverse audiences, because the last thing you want is for your National Gallery to be an elitist institution. You want it to reach the widest possible range of the Jamaican and other audiences.
What is one thing that you would love for the general public to know about the National Gallery that they don't know?
Right. Well, I think really my main thing is really that the National Gallery is for everybody. It's not just for a particular set of people or people with particular interests. It has something to offer to every person in Jamaica and beyond. And coming to the National Gallery is not a chore. If you come here for exhibition openings for our last Sundays, it's a fun experience. It's an engaging and fun experience. And if you do so, you will almost certainly come back.
Up next, Anil Lawrence talks to us about the curation process.
It's Island Hour, it's Island Hour, it's Island Hour.
Bullseye for Eyes Summer Sale. Try your luck at the Bullseye and get up to 40% off your frames. Land on the Bullseye and your eyeglasses are completely free. This summer, July 15th to August 31st, everyone is a winner at Island Eyewear. Conditions apply. Call 630-1180 or visit islandeyewear.com. Island Eyewear, your price, your style.
All human life is precious. Respect life. No more senseless killings. No more.
Explorations 3, 7 Women Artists is the gallery's newest exhibition. Lead curator O'Neill Lawrence took us on a tour and told us about how much work went into an exhibit of this scale. So how many people and how long does it take to put together an exhibition like this one here?
Well, in terms of people, it's really the entire National Gallery team. I mean, normally, you know, curators may speak about the curatorial department, which right now stands at 7 people, but it's our accounts department, our security guards, our registrar, our executive director. So it's about, you could say, the entire National Gallery staff, which is 30 plus. In terms of how long it takes to put on something, an exhibition like this, that's several months. I mean, it starts, we normally plan our exhibitions about 2 years in advance. This exhibition, however, was inspired by trends that we saw in our last exhibition, the 2014 biennial, and we started planning that sometime around January. So now we're in June now, so it's almost, in terms of planning and getting to it, about 4 to 5 months.
So take us through that 4 to 5 month journey of the curating process.
Well, the first thing really is a concept. Really, it starts off with brainstorming. The entire team gets together, specifically the curatorial department gets together, and we really try to see what we thought of as something significant coming out of as a trend, really, coming out of the last exhibition, the biennial. We noticed that there was a particularly strong showing from some of the female artists. And it's not to say that this is something particularly new, but it had a particular resonance, and we decided to pursue several artists who we thought had not necessarily gotten a lot of attention. These were mid-career artists, not emerging, people who had been practicing for a while. And then we just decided that we would make a selection and then present a body of work to show, you know, a cohesive statement for each of them. There's the meeting with the artists, their studio visits, which took place over the initial stages, finding works, getting loans for some of the things that were sold by particular artists. And of course, there was the most dramatic thing that quite a few of the artists were creating work specifically for this exhibition. There's the production of the catalog, the advertising, all those things come together. I mean, that's really what happens in the beginnings, depending on the nature of the work. Some were much more complicated to install. I mean, the one that we're in front of now includes a concrete beam that had to be suspended from our ceiling. Some of the works are installations, so the artists themselves had to come in. So I guess that's essentially the process.
How important is the National Gallery to helping these artists to make a profit?
Well, realistically, we are not a commercial gallery, so that is not one of our primary concerns. In terms of what happens outside of the space and what happens with these artists in terms of their work, we are providing a platform and a space for their work to be displayed. If someone is interested in, you know, purchasing something from an artist, then really the only role we would play is putting two parties together. And I guess it can significantly help, especially if someone has, you know, the prestige, I guess, of having presented work in the National Gallery.
So what would be your advice to a young artist who would like to be featured here?
Well, the thing I would say is to produce work, promote yourself, because in this day and age, you know, having a website, having a Facebook presence, Twitter, Instagram, those are the things that get your images, get your work out there. We have exhibitions like the Jamaica Biennial that it has an invited portion, or it had an invited portion where artists could submit work. So really what it is really looking out for exhibition opportunities, creating some exhibition opportunities, because a lot of young artists are no longer looking for gallery spaces specifically, they're creating their own spaces. And the thing is, when you are promoting yourself in that way, putting your work out there, you will come on our radar. And if we have a show that you fit in, then you most likely will be approached for that.
Up next, Deborah Anzinger talks to us about the NLS space. On the other end of the spectrum, you have the quaint and freshly minted NLS. Focusing on emerging artists, they are clear about their mission to take Jamaican audiences into uncharted visual territory. So what does NLS stand for?
New Local Space. Officially, that's what we're registered as, but when the organization started, we wanted to just be known as NLS, and it would be the short for several possible interpretations and meanings, such as Natty's loquacious stylings. We had a long list of things, and then finally we had to get the name registered because we were really doing business. So we said, okay, well, what comes to the actual core of what the organization means, and has enough of is open enough in terms of what it could mean that we could continue to evolve as an organization. So New Local Space we felt really captured the spirit, which is contemporary, and it provides a platform for artists, and the space not only functions as a physical space, but it also functions as a space in terms of the World Wide Web, and we also function as a space that engages other spaces outside of Jamaica.
How did NLS come about?
It came about primarily as me being an artist. So I was moving back to Jamaica 3 years ago, and I had an art practice in Washington, D.C. So I was working in my studio there, and then I was also managing a small nonprofit gallery there as well. And moving back to Jamaica, I couldn't access what the contemporary art space was like here. There was no way to actually see what it was like if there was really an actual contemporary art scene. So I wanted to create a space that could really articulate that. So as a business, I want to say first that we actually function primarily as a non-commercial space. So we are a non-commercial space that has commercial activities, right? Because we have to have a revenue. Our primary focus is not one that is commercial in terms of building community, in terms of providing a platform for the public to know more about artist practice. But in terms of commercial, we have an artist residency program. Artists apply to that program, and in order to have as much of a reach to artists that we believe to be making great work, we do not want a situation where artists are actually paying to come and do their residencies. So we preferred to be more discerning about the artists that we were choosing, and then fundraise for that artist.
When setting up a space like NLS, what kind of challenges do you face?
Well, there are a lot of challenges, of course, doing business period in Jamaica. But as when you're sort of creating a new market, if you really think about the nature of the space, it's a new market. We're actually the ones creating a new market. So a lot goes into that, right? You have to educate the public. So everything that you do has to have a component, a very open component where you're not afraid to answer questions that people might have. Even as somebody who's been in the field for as long as I have, even if the answers may seem obvious, you have to be there to just answer the questions.
The creative industry locally is usually undermined. People don't take it very seriously. What challenges on an everyday basis do you have because of that while trying to operate your NLS?
You know, I'd have to look back. It's a little bit hard to remember that, but I will say no, that I really, in terms of having people take us seriously, we don't really have that challenge as much anymore. I mean, we just kind of accept that there are certain things that other spaces have that we just don't have, which is public funding, grants for contemporary arts, programming grants for art spaces. These are things that we just don't have in Jamaica, but it's something that we're so used to now, and you have to just be kind of nimble as an organization with your business model, while still staying focused on what it is that you hold as, you know, the essential component and essential mission of your organization. That's something I believe a lot of businesses lose focus and lose sight of that, and that's something that we prefer to stay small and stay in focus rather than just get kind of too crazy with our business model. So we set up a program where we will do the fundraising, so crowdfunding for the artists. Once they applied and they got into the program, then the agreement is that we'll do the fundraising, and we use Kickstarter to do that. So we felt, and what the assets of Kickstarter for us was that we could have an archive of all the successful projects that we had funded on the platform, and so that people could look on that and then look at our track record. So in that sense, the general public gets to function somewhat as an investor, kind of like an angel investor in some ways, but they do get a gift in return, a small gift in return of art. And we like to give people positive reinforcement for getting involved with contemporary art. So by default, they're now becoming an art collector.
One piece can go for around how much? For those people who don't know, maybe we're talking 2.6 or maybe we're talking 26,000.
Right. So well, as you know, or as a lot of people know, there's actually no cap on how much art can sell for. So it's I mean, you could say that about anything in the world, really, but contemporary art and art in general is notorious for not having a cap. On another hand, we have exhibitions locally and we have exhibitions abroad, and that work is also for sale. So while there might be long stretches where we're not selling artwork because the artist is in the space making work, ultimately when we do have an exhibition, sometimes that exhibition has saleable work. Sometimes it's an installation-based exhibition, and of course the work is not for sale technically, but again, sometimes the work is for sale.
Garfield Morgan is the latest artist in studio at the NLS space. Both his career and his installation are a work in progress. We spoke to him about his plans and his process. So tell me what's happening here.
Okay, so this is an installation, title of which is the TARP project. How this originated is that I actually go into the Coronation Market and I exchange tarpaulin with the vendors on the immediate outskirts of the Coronation Market. So they give me their old worn tarp, I give them a brand new one, and I take that old tarp and I incorporate it into my work. This now is an installation that will involve me using various types of tarp, different nuances, different colors, to create this installation. And really it's about people, it's about real people. It doesn't get any more real than the Coronation Market, really.
Let's say I wanted to do my own little installation, right? How much does something like this cost me?
Well, I was able to actually erect much of the structure myself. And not every artist who does an installation actually do the work himself. So that was able to cut some of my costs. So essentially, as far as costs go, it's really the lumber, the tarpaulin, and my time, which, as far as building a career goes, nobody's really gonna purchase this installation to put in their living room, or at least I don't know of any such person. So basically, this is about getting the name out there. This is about putting yourself out there so people will know you. And of course, the more people know you and are familiar with your work, then the more inclined you are to not just get sales, but to get commissions for work to be done.
Outside of providing you a studio space, how else does NLS help you as a contemporary artist?
Okay, that's a very interesting question because I actually can't think of another space in Jamaica where I could have done something like this.
Right.
And it is instructive to know that I was here 4 months ago, and that's when I first started to investigate the tarpaulin project. And here it is that I'm here again doing an installation. Now, the first time I was here, the tarpaulin was incorporated into two-dimensional work. And here it is that I've gone installation, three-dimensional, where you actually get into the space and feel the dynamics of how the space works. I teach at a tertiary institution. I do paintings on canvas. I have gallery openings in different galleries where I sell work. So there are several things that I do. I apply for grants. Part of this is to create a portfolio to apply for international residencies. And of course, you know that NLS is affiliated with international institutions. So part of it is side-eyeing those opportunities, which definitely will unfold as time goes on.
What else can be done to help those people who want to get into, contemporary art, who want to become artists in Jamaica, in the Jamaican space?
I think the onus is on them first and foremost to do the research, to think about whether this is really what you want to do. How serious are you? Because passion is good, but it takes more than passion. Because really, you're promoting a brand, and in order to do this, there are certain specific ways to go about it. You're building a career. You need to have your name out there. Part of being at NLS for me is to get my name into areas outside of Jamaica that traditionally, on my own, I probably would not have been able to do. So it's a lot of things to do, a lot of research to do, and part of the thing is attend gallery shows, see what artists are doing, get into that sphere of places where artists go and interact, listen to them, talk to them, engage them, go to exhibitions, know what's happening. Internationally, things are happening. The internet is there for us to learn from, see what is happening, and engage people, both here in Jamaica and all over the world. We have the tools to do that.
I do have a dream, and I know you have a dream, that we can make Jamaica the place of choice for you to choose to live, to work, to do business.
We are going for the Jamaica we want. Making steady progress to achieve the Sustainable Development Goals in our National Development Plan, Vision 2030 Jamaica. We have teamed up with valued partners, working through strong institutions to reduce inequalities in our society. We commit to being responsible in our production and consumption, ensuring we build sustainable communities in harmony with nature. Jamaica is making significant strides in providing quality, lifelong education for all, enabling our people to be engaged in decent work to drive economic growth, equipping men and women with the skills to build resilient infrastructure, promote sustainable industry, foster innovation, and utilize new technologies. Urgent action is being taken to manage natural resources responsibly, protecting clean water sources, ensuring access to water and sanitation for all, diversifying to alternative energy sources, conserving our environment and sustaining life below water and on land. Jamaica is making moves to ensure healthy lifestyles for the well-being of our people. We're promoting sustainable agriculture to achieve food security, improve nutrition, and end extreme hunger, putting in the work to end poverty in all its forms. We're on track in achieving our Sustainable Development Goals through realizing our Vision 2030 Jamaica. We will leave no one behind.
And I'm chilling right now, cause we're winning right now.
You're watching Business Access TV.
Business Access. Business Access. Business Access.
Business Access.
You are watching Business Access TV.
Business Access TV.
Serious
about business.
Serious about business.
everyone, I'm Candy and we are here at Devon House J. Ray and Nephew to celebrate Jimmy and Joy. Jimmy is of course the chairman of J. Ray and Nephew. He is Mr. Clement Jimmy Lawrence, and Joy Spence is the only female master blender. They were both honored with orders of distinction at the National Heroes Ceremony, and tonight we celebrate them. Stay tuned. First of all, Jimmy, congratulations on your order of distinction earlier this week.
Thank you so much. You know, I'm elated and humbled because it's so wonderful to be recognized by the government and one's peers, and so it's a really wonderful thing to happen to me, and I feel particularly proud.
Talk to us about your journey with J. Ray and Nephew. What has that been like?
Well, I started with the group in 1995. And I've been through a number of areas. I think what the group had offered to me is something that anyone would die for in their career, quite frankly. So I've been with Federated Pharmaceuticals, Plastic Containers, Lascelles Laboratories, Lascelles Wines and Spirits, Lascelles Distribution, Ray and Nephew. And not only that, I've had stints in production, in sales and marketing, you know, the whole works, in warehousing, you know, so it's a really broad exposure that was was afforded me, and for that I'm really grateful.
So tonight they're also celebrating Joy. Talk to us about her and her journey and what that means.
You know, I was just saying earlier in a conversation, you know, to receive this accolade with Joy is a huge privilege for me, quite frankly. Joy is a phenomenal woman. She has accomplished so much, you know, the first female blender in the world, you know, that is awesome. And she's so intelligent and so engaging, you know, and caring. She's, you know, I remember, you know, having simple illnesses, and Joy would, you know, she had such a deep concern that the humanity in her is just amazing, a wonderful person. I'm particularly proud to have this moment with her. You know, us jointly receiving this honor.
I have the pleasure of talking to Joy Spence OD now. Congratulations.
Thank you so much.
What has it been like to be recognized?
It is a humbling feeling to be recognized by the Jamaican government and by the people of Jamaica, and to receive the Order of Distinction Commander class is really, really an awesome feeling, and to be awarded it for actually promoting Jamaica Rum and Brand Jamaica, it's very special to me.
You're the first female master blender, not just in Jamaica, but in the world. Talk to us about your journey there.
Yes, in 1997, I became the first female master blender in the entire spirit industry in the world. It was really a humbling feeling to really realize that a Jamaican woman actually broke the glass ceiling and made way for other females to become master blenders.
Okay, now I asked Jimmy as well, and I'm going to ask you your impression of him and his journey with you, because both of you are being celebrated tonight.
Well, Jimmy is well deserving of the award. He's a very humble, hardworking individual, very supportive, and he has been one of my mentors along the way, and it is so great that both of us have received the awards together. I don't think any other company has actually had two individuals receiving national honors at the same time. So it's very special for J. Ray and Nephew.
Since my arrival in Jamaica, Jimmy and I have worked very closely together. And during that time, we've developed a certain mode of communication, which I will describe as a mixture of banter, friendly jabs, and sometimes more sober moment. So in many ways, you know, over time, Jimmy has become kind of my Jamaican brother. So when we received the news that the national award was being presented to Jimmy and Joy, my first reaction was one of joy, you know, of happiness for them, and also of pride. And my second reaction was, oh, so now I have to call Jimmy honorable each time I talk to him? You know, I talk to him a lot because we see each other every day. But thank goodness, he says, no, Jimmy, JP, you don't need to do that, you know, at least not yet. So Joy, what to say about Joy? Everything has been said about Joy. For me, Joy is a very, very impressive woman. Actually, I had a long career in this business, and she has been by far the most impressive woman I've been working with over all these years. So we all know that she's a creator of the finest rum in Jamaica. I would say even scrap that. I think she's even, you know, the finest creator of the best rum in the world at this point, you know. She is the ultimate glass ceiling breakers. She's a kind and strong force that improves everything and everyone that in her path. And there's something you may not know about Joy, is that in our business, in our industry, in the spirit industry, she is a true global superstar. She's known by everyone that counts, and she has this immense amount of respect for her and what she's accomplished. So this is why we're here this evening. You know, I couldn't miss this opportunity to throw a party to my two favorite people, and I hope that we can make tonight memorable, enjoyable, and of course, spirited.
I want to especially recognize our honorees here tonight, Joy Spence and Jimmy Lawrence. I would say the J squared is the evening, probably in keeping with J. Ray and Nephew. So we are celebrating the J's tonight. But I am pleased to be here. Despite having events elsewhere which would command my attention, I would not miss this occasion because I think we are properly honoring two of our modern day heroes in Jamaica. And they are important to us for two sets of reasons. First of all, I think both Jimmy and Joy have personally demonstrated in their own life the qualities of professionalism, diligence, commitment to excellence that is so needed, so much needed in Jamaica and so valued. Each of them, in their own way, have blazed a trail that so many could emulate, and I certainly want to congratulate them for those qualities which have enabled them to reach to the pinnacle of their respective professions and avocations.
Joy and Jimmy, I didn't want to include the J's in this, but it is appropriate because they do represent J, Ray, and Nephew. And I think that my friend, the leader of the opposition, was in fine fettle tonight. Very spirited indeed. And I'm sure that he spoke very eloquently and well about the power and value of that family combination of J. Ray and Nephew. But J. Ray and Nephew has been more than just a name and a family reference in Jamaica. It has become an icon and a statement of the value of Jamaica's output in rum and spirits. And I travel in various places, and one of the things that define Jamaica in many places, especially in Mexico and in parts of Brazil, is J. Ray and Nephew, or Appleton rum. And so it is always a wonderful feeling when you are cited for the work that you've done. And Joy and Jimmy this evening are brought before us as prime examples of that point of excellence that we reach, where a grateful nation can accord to them the 5th highest honor in the land, Commander of the Order of Distinction. And so I know that we can continue to enumerate the various points of excellence that they have attained on the journey over time. And I know, too, that we would be failing in terms of our own ability to enumerate the full extent of their contributions in their various areas. But I want to make the point that theirs have been a road well trodden, and theirs have been an experience worth emulating. And I want to establish and present them before you all and the nation tonight as true exemplars of a wonderful tradition, a great Jamaica that has produced outstanding and iconic people. Tonight, Joy and Jimmy, I say to you both, congratulations, God bless you both, and I know you have many, many more years, and you only got the 5th honor. There's more to come. Keep on doing well. God bless you both.
Stay tuned to Business Access TV. We'll have much more from the event celebrating Jimmy and Joy right after this.
Your business matters. Business Access TV offers you the most innovative and effective advertising solution for your business, specializing in B2B sales, cost-effective solutions, the customers you want, the repetition you need. No matter the size and nature of your company, your business matters. Call us at 876-618-2870 or email us at sales@batvja.com. Business Access TV, serious about business.
Welcome back. We return to the highlights celebrating Jimmy and Joy.
Let me first say how proud our family is about Jimmy's accomplishments. I tell people my life is simple and happy. I've been married for 34 years to this gentleman, and I have no regrets. We have 2 beautiful and brilliant girls, Swad and Imani, and now we have the addition of a wonderful son, Sean. If life at home is simple beyond this, it appears to us that Jimmy unleashes complexity and adaptability in his career. In review, the multiple roles Jimmy has played in his career over the years makes him like a jack of all trades and bucking the expectation by mastering many. Let's briefly review his job experiences, starting from teacher of chemistry, as Faye said, for 3 months, to production planner, purchasing manager, production manager, manufacturing systems manager, warehouse manager, engineering manager, technical manager, plant manager, let me take a breath, general manager, chief operating officer, head of marketing and sales, managing director, and now chairman. I am sure he has spent no more than 3 years in any assignment. His notable involvement in increasing the label for Magnum and marketing the brand, among others, are highlights of how bold and adventurous he is in areas in which he ought not to be competent. And just when you think he would be in a plateau, he is awarded a national hero honor, as we celebrate tonight, the Order of Distinction, Commander Class, wow. And he is so modest about it. His idol in this is Dr. Joy Spence, his friend of whom he is so proud. A round of applause for Joy, please.
Ladies and gentlemen, it is really a pleasure for me to join with the distinguished persons represented here tonight in paying tribute to my wife and friend, Joy. A gifted woman with exceptional talent who has served Ray and Nephew with distinction. And the national recognition that she has received on Monday is a result of her hard work. Joy, your exploits as an accomplished chemist, blending various potions to make various exotic and award-winning spirits, especially Appleton rums, and the promotion of brand Jamaica around the globe are well known and documented. However, If it wasn't for your mother, we may not have experienced her magic with the spirits, as she would have been helping other needy souls to take on the Holy Spirit. You see, ladies and gentlemen, Joy first wanted to be unknown. However, her mom told her, as well as the teacher at Holy Child, that she'd have none of it because she wanted grandchildren. And I have personally thanked my mother-in-law for that, because Joy is the mother of two beautiful children. Tracy Ann, who is here tonight, and Sean, who due to work commitments overseas could not make the trip home. To your children, you have been a mother, a mentor, a role model, and a friend. Your family and friends have always been very important to you, and you always find time for them and to make contact with them. Over the years, you have found cause to celebrate every success and achievement, and it has been an enjoyable ride. Can I ask Jimmy and Joy to please join me on stage? To mark this occasion with a small gift that captured the spirit of Jimmy and Joy, that would be also aligned with the Campari corporate culture, what we call Camparista, Dr. Phillips, and which is basically small but unique, stylish but fun, relaxed but with very high professional standard. And so we scratched our heads and we basically came up with this. So let me just, if you could please have them. I like the hat, Jimmy. So now for the best part of the evening. You have in your glass a one-of-a-kind masterpiece created by the master herself, especially for this occasion. So please join me as we raise our glasses in a salute to our G. Ray and nephew heroes, Jimmy and Joy. They are the embodiment of the true Jamaican spirit, which I surmise as resilient, friendly, driven, passionate, determined, and unique. To Jimmy and Joy. To you guys.
Career Moves has always explored interesting careers, highlighting all you may not have known about them. This season is no different.
Coming back to Jamaica, everyone's like, Fizzy what? Fizzy who?
When you find a bright boy or girl in the class and people say, what are you going to be? The parents say, you have to go be a doctor, you have to go be a lawyer. Nobody says you have to go be a politician.
Let me see your hands!
Tune in Tuesdays at 8 p.m. on Business Access TV.
There are few more things more exhilarating than to be recognized by one's country and peers, with family in tow, and particularly when it is unanticipated. This has been an amazing evening, just by virtue of the fact that we're all gathered here with you as guests representing various aspects of my relationships over the years. I am indeed elated and humbled. I gave thought as regards to what I'd say because you all know book and verse about me. And all that's left for me to do now is to give the vote of thanks. And this is it. At the risk of omission, I will mostly speak to groups rather than individuals. But you have all played tremendous roles in my life, and for that I am indeed grateful. I wish to express the gratitude to the Governor General, His Excellency the Most Honorable Sir Patrick Allen, the Prime Minister, Most Honorable Andrew Holness, and the Minister of Tourism, Honorable Edmund Bartlett, for their collective endorsement and facilitation of the accolade bestowed on me. I give my commitment to this country that I love so dearly to continue making my personal contribution to building capacity and inspiring our youth in the belief that all can realize their dreams and aspirations with adequate preparation and commitment to one's stated goals. I must also recognize my colleague, Dr. Joy Spence. Joy is a phenomenal woman. We all agree, kind, caring, and highly intelligent. I am privileged to be a recipient of this honor along with her this year. I would also like to recognize a business associate, Mr. Clifton Yap, who on this occasion was awarded the Honor Order of Distinction Commander Class. Clifton is responsible for the architectural design execution of the Appleton Estate Rum Experience being constructed in St. Elizabeth. I'd also like to recognize and congratulate all other recipients of awards here in attendance. JP, our Managing Director, my colleague and friend, of course, is the initiator of this event, as my sources tell me. JP and I never compete. Even on company fun day races, we agree to run in opposite directions. The racetrack, is multi-directional so as not to compete. Unfortunately, he runs towards the start line consistently. This is an innovative cooperation, I think. It continues to be a pleasure working with you, JP. Your demeanor, your wit, and broad knowledge makes for a very easy work relationship, and I think you echoed that before. For that is of great appreciation to me, and I thank you, sir. When Taniki said to me, and I quote, "Jimmy, you got a CD." I said, "No, but I have a USB drive." Believe me, it was initially lost on me as to what this was about. Taniki has, in a very short period of time, implemented a robust and accelerated program surrounding corporate affairs and sustainability that this company, to my mind, has never experienced prior. I owe her and her expert team a debt of gratitude. Thank you and the organizing team for executing this exquisite event. To you all, I'm sincerely grateful for support, teamwork, and commitment to cause. I wish to close by proposing a toast to all of us in going forward, in the words of one of my favorite songs. May you think of your fellow man, give him a helping hand, put a little love in your heart, and the world will be a better place for you and for me. Cheers, and thank you.
It is indeed a privilege and an honor to be bestowed with another national honor for my contribution to the rum industry and brand Jamaica. It is these two areas that spark my passion. I have been immensely fortunate that my 35 years tenure at J. Ray & Nephew has allowed me to pursue my passions. And passion is what it takes to make a mark in this world. Follow your instincts and your heart, and you cannot go wrong. This would not have been possible without the unwavering support of my family. Emile, Tracy, and Sean, my #1 cheerleaders, my #1 Facebook posters. Everywhere you go, you see a like, you see Sean and Tracy. my friends, my dear friends, I don't have a lot of friends, but I have very dear friends who are close to my heart, who are sitting right there. My classmates, my student who is here, my rum industry colleagues, fellow camperistas, and in particular, my beloved PSC team, PSC, enough respect. In the true spirit of Jamaica, I was awakened out of my bed in August at 3 a.m. in New Zealand by JP, our managing director, shouting, "We're going to have a big party to celebrate your CD with yourself and Jimmy." I said, "But JP, are you sure about this? Because I already have a national honor." He says, "No, you're getting a bigger one," right? I said, "Okay, I am very proud and happy to hear this." And of course, there was Miss Taniki cheering in the background. So, having taken me out of REM sleep, I now had to sit up and reflect on all the various positive things that have happened in my life, and the fact that J. Ray and Nephew has been a very important part of this. It was indeed a touching moment for me, and here we are tonight, celebrating in true J. Ray and Nephew style. We do everything big. I want to thank the organizing committee for producing such a splendid and spirited event tonight, all led by Taniki. So Taniki and the organizing committee, I really appreciate it on behalf of Jimmy. I would like to take this occasion to congratulate Jimmy and to thank him for being not just a colleague, but a devoted friend who has given me tremendous support in what I do. Thank you all for being here, and continue to enjoy a spirit-filled evening, but remember, drink in moderation. Cheers, and as I always say, one love, enough respect to Jamaica.
Jean-Philippe Baer, Managing Director, joins me now. Talk to us about the contribution of Joy and Jimmy.
Well, I mean, it's an immense contribution. On Joy's side, you know, she's created some of the most famous rum in the world today. Since we acquired the company in 2012, we have increased the distribution tremendously through our group power and route to market. And we can see the reaction in all the markets. Everybody enjoys it, the trade, the consumer, and it's all due to her. You know, she created this rum. It's one of the highest standards in the world, and so we are very happy and obviously very proud of her. Jimmy has been also very, very instrumental in us being who we are today in Jamaica. You know, when we bought the company here, there was a lot of different groups. You had the Lascelles group, the Lascelles distribution, we had J. Ray and Nephew, and then the Campari group came in, and all this culture had to be mixed because we merged the companies, and it was not easy to actually being able to have a team that was united. And Jimmy has done a tremendous job as reuniting everybody. And now the team that we have is in great part because of him and his success, his professionalism and his high standard. So we're also very grateful to him.
And that's it from us here at Devon House, where J. Ray and Nephew celebrated Jimmy and Joy. Until next time, I'm Candy, signing out for Business Access TV.
I'm Usain Bolt, the fastest man in the world, and you're watching Business Access.
You're watching Business Access TV.
Business Access. Business Access.
Business Access.
You are watching Business Access TV.
Business Access TV.
Serious
about business.
Serious about business.
welcome to BATV's coverage of the Masters of Cardiology under the theme Cardiovascular Care and Technologies in Low-Resource Environments. Hi, I'm Javon Keys, and we're here to bring you the highlights. Stay tuned. So tell us, what was the idea behind this weekend's conference?
Well, a large part of our mission is education of not only our doctors internally, but our community doctors, because as we're fond of saying, you know, cardiology is a team sport. So if we know everything there is to know about the heart, but the people who are referring patients into us don't, then patients are not getting the best possible care, or sometimes their care is being overlooked or symptoms are being missed. So we decided that having a conference, having a formalized approach to educating our community was in order.
So for the Caribbean generally, is heart disease something that we should be particularly concerned about?
Absolutely. I am fond of saying that if we put all other causes of death and disability in a box, so whether it be cancer or HIV or murders or slip and fall, car accidents, if you put all those causes that Jamaicans and people in the Caribbean die in a box, and then you put cardiovascular diseases in another box, you would not be able to fill the cardiovascular disease box with all of those causes combined. So when we're talking about cardiovascular diseases, we usually include diabetes in there because the lion's share of diabetics die from heart disease. So heart disease, stroke, and heart attacks or cardiovascular disease as a bundle kill more Jamaicans than all other causes of death and disability combined. So we really all should care about it.
You had some big names here. Tell us how that was and the reception that you've been getting from patrons about the kind of conversations that took place.
We organized a conference under the theme Masters of Cardiology. And what we wanted to do was really to get absolute masters, people who are adjudged by their peers to be among the best of the best. And so we've got chairmen and division heads from major academic institutions in the U.S. We have the chairman of medicine from the University of Pennsylvania, the chief of cardiology from the University of Pennsylvania. We have the chairman of cardiology from UCLA, and the list goes on.
It promises to be a very exciting conference. The learning never stops. The moment you stop learning, you're dead. Dr. Parmasek has been a great leader in medicine for many, many years, and he graciously accepted our invitation to headline this event with the opening keynote lecture, and I think that is going to be very, very revealing because everything we're able to accomplish in medicine has to do with the leadership that drives it. But sometimes, there are innate qualities in leadership, and there are some things that we have to learn along the way to accomplish that. And I'm looking forward excitedly to hear that lecture and other lectures to follow. Jamaica is a very beautiful island. It's one of the most beautiful places on earth, so some of you may not have time to explore the rest of Jamaica, but this should be an ongoing series of conferences we're going to have. We're looking forward to robust collaborations with our partners that are here, and I think you will be hearing more of us. We'll be welcoming you all again here.
So we developed a multi-pronged program. We hired professional coaches for every one of the people on the leadership team for 1 or 2 years. And we developed a model to focus on what they wanted to accomplish as an individual, where they felt their needs were. Now, I was skeptical, I got to tell you, about this professional coaching. I didn't know what these people did, But as a number of people have pointed out to me, even professional tennis players still have a coach. If you can get people that have these skills, and there are organizations that teach these people, we found these professional coaching properly directed incredibly important. We started with a full-day immersion in terms of leadership and had a plenary speaker on that subject with many exercises. Then over the course of 2 years, we had, and I want to stress, interactive sessions. These were not just lectures on how to have a difficult conversations. They were simulations. They were exercises. There was peer-peer interactions in terms of getting people engaged. And we felt that this tripartite approach combined with readings, and I can again provide you with a list of the readings that we'd recommend, were what our faculty needed to develop their leadership skills. And again, this was our overall goal, to improve, move people to the right on that 9 box, improve their learning agility, because this touched everything. And ultimately, if we were going to lead change, we needed people that were agile, that could function in multiple domains and not just focus on one trait. And this is when we looked at the 9 box in terms of where our faculty started out. This is actually what it looked like. We had a number of people that, as you're facing it on the left, were really people that tended to focus on depth, going in depth to things. We had a few people that were actually focusing more on agility. Now, the truth of the matter is you don't want to be too far right or too far left. Some people are more detail-oriented, more focused-oriented. Some are more agile. But where you really want to be is somewhere balanced, somewhere in the middle. And so this was what our curriculum looked like. We first developed a cadre of coaches, and we did some matchmaking, knowing the skills of the coaches and the skills of our trainees. We had each of the division chiefs and each of the vice chairs and division administrators do a personal Via Edge personality survey. And that tells you your own personal style. Now, I was skeptical about that. I took it myself. But I have to tell you, I learned more about myself with this little tool, and I think it was dead on than I really fully ever appreciated about myself. And we used that to inform the coaches. The only people that saw this were the coaches and the trainees in terms of what they should focus on, in terms of the development of this leader in our department. And then we started the interactive sessions. We had a few rules. First of all, we wanted people to show up. Second of all, we said, what's said in this room stays in this room. We knew people needed to expose themselves, their vulnerabilities in terms of what they needed to learn, and tell people stories about what things they had done that had worked, and also things that they had done when they had failed. We wanted our division chiefs and vice chairs to bring examples of both. We wanted people to keep all their scheduled coaching sessions. I think we insisted on about 10 hours of coaching over the course of a year. We said that nobody could send substitutes. And we basically invited our division administrators to selected sessions, primarily focused on the business and finance of the department.
I'm going to talk about resistant hypertension, new and emerging concepts. I'd like to thank Drs. Bao and Madhu and Ms. Lisa. They've done wonderful things organizing this particular conference. I bring you greetings from New Orleans, which is the most northern Caribbean city. So I understand being a little bit behind in time. But I have a lot that I want to cover, and it's related to an area which I think is important not only in the United States, but also throughout the Caribbean: high rates of hypertension, high rates of poorly controlled hypertension. Here are data from the United States. So this is non-Hispanic white. This is non-Hispanic black. And over the last several decades, you see cardiovascular disease mortality has been coming down. But what you may note are two things. One is, if you take those data out to 2014, you see a plateau. It's starting to slow down in terms of the decrease in mortality. And some of the newer data are suggesting there may even be an uptick in cardiovascular mortality as we have increase in obesity, diabetes, poorly controlled hypertension. The other thing I want you to show is if you're looking at all cardiovascular disease, the top curve, The differences between blacks and whites in the United States, it's not even close. We're not talking about social science. This is dead bodies at the side of the road. Cardiovascular mortality comes earlier and higher in the black population when compared to the white population. Here are the rates of hypertension control. You can see we did well for several decades, but over the last several years, the rates of control are actually starting to decrease somewhat. Now, who has resistant hypertension, which is basically blood pressure that remains above goal despite being on 3 or more medications at maximally tolerated doses, and often that includes a calcium channel blocker, RAS blocking agent, and a diuretic. This is a paper that I published 2 years ago, and one of the markers for resistant hypertension is black race. Now, I'm not suggesting that this is genetically driven. Some of it's related to disadvantaged status, health-seeking behavior, not having a primary source of care, and when the person presents to the hospital, the emergency room, the urgent clinic, they've already had years of poorly controlled hypertension. Living in the southeastern part of the United States, which is where much of the African diaspora came in to the United States, remains disadvantaged for resistant hypertension, excessive salt intake, and excessive alcohol intake. Alcohol raises the HDL. It has not been shown to be protective as we once thought, especially for men, 2 or more drinks. A woman, 1 or more drinks on a daily basis may actually cause an increase in hypertension.
We take a break now, but we'll be right back with more from the Masters of Cardiology.
How you go with all of that? You're moving?
No. I'm a passport I come for renewing, you know. But you want me to show me no in that place full of corn and a long line I take you all day. Make sure you walk with some food. And...
No, man, things improve, man. Them have a jack box where you can use inside. You finish in no time.
Yeah,
man, I'm not done.
Yeah. And some food, man. Try this. A drop box.
Transformation is happening across the public sector. Many services are now available online. We are building a better public service for all. Brought to you by the Transformation Implementation Unit.
All human life is precious. Respect life. No more senseless killings. No more.
Caring Hands Season 3 continues to effect change in a changing environment.
Many of us were raised by grandmothers, right? So, I mean, we know the wisdom that these people have.
Going beyond business.
The little leaders of today are our leaders of tomorrow. And with the proper education, we'll have very good leadership coming from that.
That's Season 3 of Caring Hands, creating change and shaping lives, every Sunday at 5:30 p.m. on Business Access TV.
Cameo brings the creative industries to life. Delighting creatives in different fields each week. Art.
My life turns art. I breathe, I eat art.
Fashion. Food.
Without a customer, we're nothing but 4 walls.
Music. Film. Cameo, only on Business Access TV.
Welcome back to Masters of Cardiology. Here's more. The Heart Institute of the Caribbean is the only one of its kind in the region, is it?
That's correct, in the English-speaking Caribbean.
And what kind of gap has it filled regarding the whole issue of cardiovascular diseases or issues in the region?
Hopefully, we're trying to play a role in helping to address the rising epidemic of cardiovascular diseases in Jamaica, specifically, and in the Caribbean in general. So the Heart Institute of the Caribbean as the only freestanding cardiac center of excellence, and the HIC Heart Hospital as the only heart hospital in the English-speaking Caribbean. We have provided a platform, for individuals with cardiovascular disease to have one-stop shop where they can get acute treatment and ongoing management of chronic cardiovascular conditions.
And with that, there's no surprise that you would have had this conference, Masters of Cardiology. So tell us where that idea came from.
Well, one of the part of the mandate of the Heart Institute of the Caribbean is to continue to inform and educate and continue to learn. We believe that effective cardiovascular service delivery has to be a coordinated team effort to make sure that the various aspects of diagnosis, treatment, and ongoing management are properly covered. It's impossible to deliver good cardiovascular care as a one-man. It's not a one-man sport. It's a team sport. There are so many aspects of cardiology. One cardiologist cannot know everything. It's impossible. If you have any one cardiologist that tells you he can deal with everything, then I think you have to question the sincerity of that claim. One cardiologist can also not be on call or available 24/7, 365 days. As you know, cardiovascular disease can be fatal and can be quickly fatal, and acute heart attacks can occur without warning. And so if you have a solo cardiologist, running a center, then that will make it impossible. It puts patients' lives, at risk essentially, because that person may not be available when the heart attack, strikes. So that is the kind of information patients and doctors also may not be consciously aware of. And so intellectual exchanges, of best practices become very critical. And the work we do has, many ramifications. And our expertise also informs our approach. We have international collaborations. Our peers internationally recognize our competence and have respect for what we do, as we do what they do, the kind of respect we have for them. So it's shared values.
So why does virtual care matter? And we're defining here virtual care as care in which the doctor is not actually putting their hands on the patient. They are either interacting with them over the phone or video, or they're an expert who's reviewing a synthesis of that patient's records. Can virtual care really make a difference? Well, I would like to recognize Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. In 1966, he was speaking at a press conference in Chicago, and he said, of all the forms of inequality, injustice in healthcare is the most shocking and inhuman. So the work that all of us are doing that brings us here today is not only helping a patient here and there, but it's doing the right thing. It's combating injustices, injustice and inequality in access to medical care. What can virtual care accomplish? If I'm not here laying my hands on the patient, putting my stethoscope on the chest, can virtual care really make a difference? The answer is yes. So basically, Ashifa is a woman in her early 50s who had a lump in her neck, and she was diagnosed with metastatic squamous cell carcinoma. And she came to Best Doctors, which is the company I work for and has subsequently been acquired by Teladoc Health, to have, she lives in Calgary, but she wanted to have her case reviewed by top experts in head and neck cancer, top experts in pathology, to see if her treatment, her planned chemoradiation, was the right thing to do.
I had a lump on my neck, and what happened was we got a biopsy done and it was negative. There were no issues. But my family doctor said, it doesn't belong there and let's get it removed. About 10 days after that, I got a call, and it was my surgeon. The surgeon said, Ashifa, you need to clear your calendar. No appointments, nothing. Clear it for a few months. This is not going to be a fun treatment. You are going to be living a nightmare.
Ashifa's doctors were searching, doing multiple biopsies in her throat, her tongue, removing her tonsils to try to find where did that cancer originate, and they couldn't find it. The chemotherapy that's used to treat head and neck cancers is often uses what are called platinum-based agents, and those are very toxic. They're ones that cause a lot of side effects, a lot of nausea, are very difficult to go through. And then again, the radiation, instead of just having a focused field of radiation, they were really looking to irradiate a large area of Ashifa's head and neck, hoping to get the cancer wherever it originated because they couldn't find it.
And somewhere throughout that, all of a sudden, it hit me. I've got a Best Doctors policy, and I need to contact them.
At Best Doctors, we take very, very seriously the trust that people put in us. And we recognize that it is absolutely critical always to go to the primary source, always to use the primary data, because misdiagnosis can happen anywhere. So it's not enough to just take a pathology report on face value or a radiology report on face value. We always make sure to collect the primary data ourselves and have our experts review the pathology, have experts in the field reviewing the radiology scans, because that is something that really enables people to feel very confident that misdiagnosis, if it's there, has been identified and that their diagnosis is accurate. The treatment will be there to deliver optimal outcomes.
3 days before the treatment was supposed to start, we got the magic call from Best Doctors. It said, no cancer.
Multiple top pathologists all looking at our slides to confirm that in that lymph node, there was no cancer, that the diagnosis of metastatic cancer was wrong.
The end result is there was no cancer. There is no radiation. There is no chemo.
So, and what Ashifa ends up, what she has is Sjogren's disease, which caused some very, very funny looking lymphocytes to be in her lymph node, but it was not cancer. So, but why did Ernest invite me to speak here today? The reason is this, is that all of us are looking to improve the access of men and women and children to high quality medical care. And the potential of virtual care to be able to be a remarkable tool in this mission that we all are engaged in it's remarkable.
We're here today in Jamaica, and a lot of what we're talking about, I think the people as I sat down listening to all these talks, the folks at HIC have done a lot of these things already. And I think, maybe looking at the model that you guys have implemented, I know you've probably gone through some rough and tumble period in building this, because as my own experience is that it's not easy to accomplish what you've done. But I've had some unique experiences in Nigeria. This is where, we need to look at sustainable options. Nigeria is a unique country with about 186 million people in 2016, expected to become the fourth largest country in the world by 2050, with about almost 493 million people. And the GDP is 376 billion and is considered lower middle income. We've seen a similar graph for many low middle income countries similar to this in the course of this talk, where there's still a large percentage of the population that are young. And the healthcare system there is very fragmented. Like as you see, there are 33,000 general hospitals, 20,000 primary care centers, and 59 teaching hospitals. But the healthcare is accessed by only 43% of the population. And that's a problem. And sometimes a lot of the drugs, they are substandard, they are imported from different parts of the world, some are manufactured locally. But so my role was to work with Heart Rhythm Society. I currently serve as ambassador for the Heart Rhythm Society to Africa, about how do we grow this practice of electrophysiology on the continent. And we started a few years ago just with some colleagues where, we first of all tried to define the magnitude of the need and some of the other things that we may be able to do. But a lot of the services currently is limited to implantation of devices. Some of the barriers we saw was the issue of infrastructure and the cost to the patient, as I mentioned before, and the lack of trust in the medical system by the patients, and also the issue of the fear between primary care doctors and cardiologists. I heard that being that they feel they lose the patients to the cardiologists. We face the same issue that primary care doctors were afraid to refer to the cardiologists. Even we face the same issue in the United States. It's the same issue everywhere that they look. But the key is to train people that keep that patient alive first. That's how you can have a patient in the first place.
Stay with us. We'll be right back after these messages.
They say it takes a village to raise a child, but the world will one day need the leadership of that child. The time you spend with your child matters. It stimulates their minds and shapes the way they act. Talk with your children. Help them to better understand the world around them and to value what is truly precious. Above all, the most valuable gift you can give them is love. Play, talk, teach, love. Take the time. It makes all the difference. A message from the Parenting Helpline and Ad Council Jamaica.
Have you seen it? It's BATV Live. Live streams of business news weekdays at 7:30 p.m. Stay on point Thursdays at 8 p.m. with our Business Current Affairs show and Weekend Business Report Saturdays at 7:30 p.m. wherever you are. Log on to our Facebook page at Business Access TV or visit our website at batvja.com. Live and at your fingertips. Business Access TV. Serious about business.
Ready for cable for as little as $100? Ready for no monthly cable bill? Ready for 10 TV channels absolutely free? Then pick up our Ready TV box at authorized stores for $4,500. Hook it up to your TV set, then top it up with Ready Credit for 1, 7, or 30 days. Buy now and get $1,000 free Ready Credit and start watching your favorite shows. Pick it up, hook it up, top it up. Ready TV. Prepaid cable TV when you're ready. Now serving Kingston and St. Catherine. Limited time offer while stocks last. Conditions apply.
I'm Richard Biles, CEO of Sagicor, and you're watching Business Access.
In case you're just joining us, we are at the Jamaica Pegasus for the Masters of Cardiology event. Stay tuned for more highlights.
When I was a single surgeon here, I would have to treat cases, cardiac cases, general thoracic cases, and there comes a point in time in that when you are the only surgeon, what do you do in relation to getting or training other youngsters to take over from your position? Because of this limited resources, we planned over a number of years to introduce the program, and we finally at the University of the West Indies introduced the DM in cardiothoracic surgery, which involved training. In the first 3 years, the members of this program were exposed to general surgery, and within that 3-year period, they had 6 months in cardiac surgery and 6 months in general thoracic surgery. Then they had the final 3 to 5 years was spent in being exposed purely to cardiac and general thoracic surgery. Now, of course, the opportunity to be exposed to these programs was limited by the number of patients that you operated on, and of course, the number of patients operated on was limited by the resources that were available to you. And fortunately, to increase the resources and the number of patients operated on, I was able to invite teams of surgeons, teams of cardiologists to visit at certain periods of time. We would investigate the patients, and we would do these cases, thus increasing the number available to our trainees. But of course, we felt that the numbers were not significant enough in Jamaica, and we arranged with our colleagues for these youngsters to be trained in facilities in other countries. Unfortunately, with this program, we have established the numbers of cardiothoracic surgeons in Jamaica now is approaching 7, and I will then hand over to our other members of the panel, because their information would increase our what we have available for our graduates.
In terms of GME training or residency training or fellowship training in low or medium resource environments, it's all about partnership. But let me say from the outside that this is not a one-way partnership. It goes in both directions. At Penn Medicine, we have some experience historically in starting a medical school in partnership with the University of Botswana. It's now in its 7th or 8th year. And I would say approximately 1/4 to 1/3 of our medicine residents at Penn actually spend time in Botswana getting a global health experience. And I'm absolutely convinced that we get as much out of this as hopefully they're gaining from our interactions with them. We also send faculty members and have an on-site director in Botswana. The point is, it's about a two-way partnership. We all can learn from each other. And I think that I'm very excited. Dr. Madhu has reached out to us about an interaction in cardiology. I was talking to Dr. Coppola, our chief of cardiology, about about sending both our trainees down here, our faculty down here, but also bringing trainees from Jamaica and the Heart Institute and the rest of Jamaica, for that matter, back to Penn for some training.
So I'm Carol Watson. I run the cardiology fellowship at UCLA. And I can tell you, when I took over the fellowship 5 years ago, we sort of reimagined the whole thing. And one of the key principles we put in there was that the world is flat and cardiology is global. So one of the things that was never a part of our fellowship before was a global experience. Since then, we have a elective rotation in Malawi. And again, most of our internal medicine residents go to Malawi, and now some of our cardiology fellowships. We have an ongoing collaboration in Malawi where when we first went over there, we got a grant to take over 3 echo machines. And with that, we were able to quadruple the number of echo machines they had in Malawi. So they now have 4, and we have an ongoing collaboration where they we trained physicians there to read echoes, and honestly, they read echoes better than some of our echocardiographers now, and they send studies back and forth. And so that's been a really fruitful collaboration. We also now have an elective in China. We have a affiliated hospital that we send fellows back and forth with. We have a quarterly Trans-Pacific Cath conference where we take turns. They present a case, we present a case. And it's so interesting hearing how similar the patients are and how similar the procedures are, but then also how different the approach is. And so many of the approaches make a lot more sense. So we're getting as much as they're getting, I agree with you. Making sure we can offer as much as we take is important. And I will be talking to Dr. Madhu about initiating some kind of partnership with his institution, because again, what we take away and what we give, I think, is so important to our trainees, and there's no way you can train a cardiovascular specialist for the future without understanding the global landscape.
Walter Clare from Vanderbilt, and actually mine is more been focused on the undergraduate medical educational aspects of global health and under-resourced areas. So quite frankly, at Vanderbilt, we do not have formal active relationships in global health for our students, but we have a strong program in coordination with our program in public health that allows our students to have a global health experience. They do various exchanges. But in fact, at Vanderbilt, we find ourselves a well-resourced, highly technically oriented academic medical center in the midst of what we call the cardiovascular disease belt of the southeastern United States. And so to some large extent, our experience with under-resourced areas has to do with working with the rural communities in not only Tennessee, but southern Kentucky and northern Alabama. And what we basically have done at the medical student level is to get our students involved in those types of activities, as well as our own medical student clinic, which a lot of universities around the United States are doing now. A little bit of the uniqueness of ours is that we have a collaborative relationship with Meharry, one of our historically black medical schools in Nashville, and we have what we call the Vanderbilt Meharry Alliance. So we do a lot of population health with them. But what I really want to talk to you about for a moment is the fact that we have indeed, with all due respect to what's going on at UPenn and leadership, been focused on this issue of leadership at the undergraduate medical level with our students. About a decade ago, we developed a program in health and wellness for our medical students. And it started out primarily as an activity that involved extracurricular events. And then about 8 years ago, it transitioned, just about a year before I started working with the program, to incorporating narrative writing, mindfulness, public policy, leadership, and conflict management into a curriculum for all of our entering medical students. At Vanderbilt, we've divided our medical school into 4 colleges. Each of the 4 colleges has a couple of mentors. I'm one of the 2 mentors for my college, Chapman College. And so when the medical students enter our school, they're assigned to a college. It's not strictly at random. And they stay in that college until they graduate. And that includes the MD, PhD students. So I have some students who've been with us 7 years. And over the course of those 7 years, we start out with that curriculum, which involves 43-hour sessions during their first year and multiple sessions throughout the remainder of their medical school curriculum. And we do almost everything that you saw in that slide about leadership development in some form or fashion with our students. It's really an introductory level for them. And it's interesting that I've served on visiting committees to a number of other medical schools. One in particular I visited recently, and they had worked in collaboration with us to change their curriculum. And I was unpleasantly surprised to learn that much of the stuff on emotional intelligence and conflict management was not included in their curriculum. And when we evaluated them and we talked to their faculty about the problems they were having with the new change in their curriculum and the relationships that were not going well among their students as they worked in the classrooms, they admitted that they'd missed the ball on that, and that in fact they had to abruptly stop the curriculum, put it in recess for a bit, and go back and teach the students how to interact with each other. Because most of our medical students are in medical school because they have been highly successful individual learners. They have not necessarily learned how to work in teams, and that's where we find most of the conflict.
We now take our final break, but please don't go anywhere. We'll be right back.
Career Moves has always explored interesting careers, highlighting all you may not have known about them. This season is no different.
Coming back to Jamaica, everyone's like, Fizzy what? Fizzy who?
When you find a bright boy or girl in the class and people say, what are you going to be? The parents will say, you have to go be a doctor, you have to go be a lawyer. Nobody says you have to go be a politician.
Let me see your hands!
Tune in Tuesdays at 8 p.m. on Business Access TV.
Your business matters. Business Access TV offers you the most innovative and effective advertising solution for your business, specializing in B2B sales, cost-effective solutions, the customers you want, the repetition you need. No matter the size and nature of your company, your business matters. Call us at 876-618-2870 or email us at sales@batvja.com. Business Access TV, serious about business.
Violence against women is a violation of human rights. Its impact ranges from immediate to long-term physical, mental, and sexual consequences, sometimes resulting in death. It negatively impacts women's general well-being and can prevent us from fully participating in society. Be a better human being. No more violence against women. No more.
It's season 12, and Wealth Magazine Business Access is here to keep you business savvy. With an impressive mix of some of Jamaica's most inspiring business moguls, we continue to keep Jamaica informed, empowered, and ready to dominate. Tune in Sundays at 5 p.m. only on BATV.
You're watching
Business Access.
Business Access.
Business Access. Business Access TV.
Serious about business.
We are back with another exciting, innovative, and inspiring season.
It takes a lot of stick-to-itiveness, being consistent and persistent in whatever you're doing. That's the bottom line.
Business exists to add value to people's lives. And if we're not doing that, might as well we knock down the store and just call it a day.
It's a season 3 of Creating Wealth, Mondays at 8 p.m. on Business Access TV.
Welcome back to our coverage of the Masters of Cardiology event here at the Jamaica Pegasus. Here are more highlights. How did you feel when you got the invite to come to this conference?
I think I was very privileged and honored. I was also, I think, just thrilled at the fact that a conference like this exists. I'm an academic cardiologist and I go to many conferences, I participate in many endeavors, but not all of them, I think, are, as focused on issues which affect many of us, but not everyone rises to the occasion to try to address it.
For persons watching, what are some of the recommendations you may have to the average viewer about ensuring that they are up to date regarding their cardiovascular health?
So I think one of the important things is doctors are your friends, okay? We talk about a healthy lifestyle, and in general, I think many people, maybe they are aware of it, but I think a lot of people know about the importance of keeping their weight under control. If you have too much weight, you need to lose weight. Even if you are the right weight, everybody needs to exercise, and again, diet, avoiding bad habits like smoking. So there are a lot of those things. But then to also know that there are diseases which can come on which you won't know. You don't know or feel when your blood pressure goes up. You don't know or feel when your blood sugar goes up, when your cholesterol goes up. So there are many things which are hard for you to know, but they can affect you long term. And so don't be afraid of doctors. I know that there are many thoughts about doctors, what they do, what will they do, but we've learned, especially I think in other countries, that preventing disease is the most powerful thing you can do. And as I've said, some of these are invisible things. So I think everyone should, as part of what they do, at least every 1 or 2 years, in a healthy person, at least see your primary care doctor who can screen you. And if they, discover something that needs a cardiologist, we're more, for people who have more disease, then you will get referred to us. But at least make sure you're seeing a primary care physician on a regular basis.
So what was your discussion based on today? What was your topic?
It was a lot of topics today about educational topic and real problem for training physicians here in Jamaica and On other topics about the healthcare system in Jamaica and how to provide the best healthcare for all the patients in here. A lot of technical topics about the cardiology and the advances, the new advances in cardiology in the time being, and how can we deliver and conduct this advances to Jamaica for the time being.
What was your main takeaway from the event, the conference overall?
Yes, sure. Those conferences we are making to provide a real impact on the society after that. So it's not kind of meeting people, it's kind of re-innovation of the system and the innovation of all the, and revising how we are doing things. So today we had this opportunity to meet all the pioneers. This first time that this conference happened in Jamaica, and I hope that it will run every year to see all those brilliant guys over here more time.
So tell us your view on this conference.
This was a very, very, very well-run, very educational conference. I'm impressed by the lineup of the masters of cardiology, the wealth of experience they brought to the meeting, and then the overall focus on cardiology management in our setting, our resource board setting. Most of the presentations, even though we discussed fairly, cutting-edge topics, everything was brought back around to how does it impact the Caribbean people. So I thought it was a very good conference.
What was your topic or topics of focus?
My topic was on women and heart disease and special considerations for Caribbean women.
And that discussion is important because we find that more women in the Caribbean are prone to heart-related diseases. Is that correct?
It is correct. So ischemic heart disease is the #1 cause of death in most of the countries of the Caribbean, and even in Jamaica, where diabetes is said to be the #1 cause of death, that death is mediated through cardiovascular disease. So one of the issues with women is and not just women, but their providers, etc., and the public, people tend to think about breast cancer and other gynecological cancers as being their #1 problem. And yes, early on in the reproductive years, that is an issue. But as you get older, cardiovascular disease takes over as the #1 healthcare issue. And when you look at a population as a whole, cardiovascular disease ends up being the leading cause of morbidity and mortality. So when we talk about women and heart disease, it starts from education of the public, public perceptions on women's risk for heart disease, and trying to twist that in people's minds. Even in the primary care setting, a lot of primary care providers don't consider cardiovascular disease risk when they're seeing their patients. They think about doing the pap smears and the mammograms and all of that. But especially as the woman starts to age in their late 40s and 50s, then they need to, that conversation has to be had.
Dr. Capola, tell us about the discussion that you had today. What was your topic?
We had a very interesting discussion today as part of a session on how to have care collaborations between centers in other areas and the Heart Institute of the Caribbean. And it was a real privilege to think it through. So at my institution, we have 144 cardiologists who all have different expertise. And we discussed how that's a great platform to choose the right people and to find out who wishes to come here and collaborate in care, in training, and in research, and in reciprocally, how to engage HIC and have them visit us. One of the obvious conclusions we came to was that we need to establish a video link. What we can do to have shared care for complex cardiac problems is work together using technology via the internet to review the case, review the images around the case, and help make decisions. That's an obvious first step, and I think it's never been easier to do that. We actually do it with regional hospitals close to Philadelphia, so there's no reason why we couldn't do it here. It's just a matter of setting it up. So that will be the first step, I'd say.
So how important would you say is the kind of exchange like that for not just necessarily cardiology, but medicine in general?
Exchange is essential. I think that if you remain in a silo, if you remain just seeing what you see and treating conditions the way people around you treat them, your scope is limited. And I've been at different centers at different parts of my career. One of the first things you learn is when you go to that new place is what's universally true and what's just sort of local practice that other people have strong feelings about. That becomes very apparent. So that's a benefit to all involved in the exchange. I think it's essential.
So from today's event, what was your biggest takeaway?
My biggest takeaway is that it all boils down to relationships and true desire to collaborate and exchange. And I think Dr. Ernest Madu has done an amazing job at building relationships, and that will be the key. That will be the key. So that's my take home.
What's one of the most important conversations you think that needs to be had with regards to Caribbean heart health?
I think one of the most important things is knowledge and trust. So I was talking to Dr. Madu, and he actually on the way up showed me an electrocardiogram on his phone from someone who is having a heart attack. People need to understand that a heart attack is an emergency, and no questions asked, you need to get to a center like HIC that can open your artery. And if you don't, you might not make it. So I think there's a lot of education that people need to understand. They also need to understand that you have to collaborate. So I've noticed that there are different cardiovascular and medical programs in the country. And a friend of mine, Dr. Michael Boyne, is at the University of West Indies. And I think there's lots of expertise that can be brought together here for the benefit of people. So getting out of the silos, collaborating is probably one of the most important things.
So tell us about the topic that you spoke on today.
Today I talked about sleep and cardiovascular disease. And I like to think of it as the sleeper in heart disease because many people know of all the traditional risk factors for heart disease: high blood pressure, diabetes, high cholesterol, being active. But not many people are aware how important it is to have enough sleep. And also, that's number one. And secondly, that there are some sleep disorders, such as sleep breathing disorders, obstructive sleep apnea, that can, if not treated, can cause other cardiovascular diseases.
As it relates to heart treatment generally, and I'm sure you've probably looked at the Caribbean as a whole and some of the issues that may impact Caribbean citizens or black people generally, what are some of the recommendations you may have for the average citizen to take care of their cardiovascular health?
Okay. The first thing I always like to say is definitely know your numbers. You need to know what your blood pressure is. Basics. If you go to the doctor, don't just leave, oh, I had a visit today with a doctor. What was your blood pressure? What was your weight? If the doctor did blood tests, what are the results? What's my cholesterol? What's the good? What's the bad? Know all these numbers for yourself. Based on your weight, are you in line with what it should be? Are you overweight? So take control of your health by knowing all these numbers first. So after you know your numbers, if any of the numbers are out of line, if your blood pressure is too high, definitely seek treatment right away. And a lot of times in the Caribbean, and I hear this often, people say, well, my blood pressure is controlled, so I don't need to take the medication. No, it is controlled because you're taking the medication, so you need to continue taking the medication. And I have problems with relatives of mine. I say, well, are you taking this? They say, well, the prescription ran out. Well, although it ran out, it means you need to continue taking it. So little things like this, I think it's very important.
That concludes our coverage of the Masters of Cardiology event put on by the Heart Institute of the Caribbean in conjunction with the Association of Black Cardiologists. I'm Javon Keys for Business Access TV, serious about business.
The Good Life, your trusted source for useful health and wellness information, lifestyle tips for for the mind, body, and soul. Tune in Tuesdays at 8:30 p.m. on Business Access TV.
Now presenting the Jamaica Social Investment Fund ICDP Enterprise Development Project. Entrepreneurial Grant Business Pitch.
This project is a $100 million grant that's seeking to target 50 small and micro business enterprises and give them training, capacity development, equipment, permits and license towards the development and the viability of their business. We have made a call for proposal in March of this year for entrepreneurs to submit for the opportunity to receive a grant between $1 and $5 million. We received more than 500 applications, and so we have now shortlisted them to 100. So we've invited that top 100 applicants here today, and they're going to have to pitch their business idea to a panel, and of the 150 will actually transpire and win the opportunity for the grants. One of the primary objectives of what we're doing here is employment. We want the business to be able to sustain not only the principals as the owners, but we also want the business to be able to employ at least 2 people. The next part of it, as we do in all of our projects like this, is it provides a learning instrument of how we can engage small and micro enterprises and take them to the next level.
Why we're doing this rigorous process? Because we want to identify the best potential entrepreneurs for this project. And keep in mind that we are speaking about a loan, so we want to ensure that the applicants are committed, and that from a sustainability point of view, that upon receiving the support from JSIF, that in 2 or 3 years, the enterprises will still be operational and the broader objective of the project would be achieved. Once we have now equipped them and they should be ready to start their production line going, we'll then have a mentorship component.
It has been a very competitive process. Jamaica is filled with persons with drive and passion. We're expecting that the best